Pat Summitt is basketball coach, 1,000 wins. It would be nice to be like Pat Summitt someday. So you start seeing where Pat Summitt starts to repeat. Pat Summitt, Pat. So and then lots of she's done this, she's done that. So the repetitive language was cited in this one. I think got a 4. So again, you can really increase your score and make sure that you get the most out of your writing by making sure that your language is varied and that you check for spelling and grammar. And eventually, maybe you can turn your face from this to this. Okay, so are there any questions about prompts or other questions I can answer? What are your guys' overall feelings about prompts? So let me ask you another question. When you sit down and look at a prompt, what are some of the first things you want to do? I'm sorry? Read it. Yeah, exactly. A lot of times, actually, this is one of the things that I do badly. Sometimes when I'm taking like a multiple choice test, I tend to read really quickly, and I'll read so fast that sometimes I ignore parts of the directions. So if you've ever gotten one of those questions, it's like select the answer. So and so did not do that. I might by accident select an answer of something that they did instead of something they did not. So it's those small things like that can make a big difference if you're reading through and you don't read it carefully. So especially with prompts where you're going to be responding to this, where you're going to take time to write it out, you don't want to have written your whole 2 pages of something and then read the prompt and be like, oh, it's something completely different. So yeah, reading through very carefully, understanding what the purpose is. What else do you want to do? What else do you want to keep in mind? Let's have one person raise their hand and tell me what are the things that you want to keep in mind when you are reading your prompt and respond.
Take your time.
Take your time. That's a good one. Yeah, you don't want to rush too much through it. Otherwise, you'll add something that maybe you haven't thought through all the way. Very good. What else do you want to do?
Explain about what you want to. Explain about what you write about.
Explain what you write about. Very important.
Like explain who and what you're doing. Like if you went to go play with Alice, explain who Alice is.
Yep. Good. And thanks for providing an example too. So for instance, is there like a park or some place that everyone in the class goes to a lot or knows about? Maybe some of you guys like to go to a certain place for fun, or you all know about some place, and a lot of cities will have some place that a lot of people know about. But let's say when you write your test, and so for instance, for me, most people know what I'm talking about in my city, Redmond. If I say Redmond Town Center, let's go to Redmond Town Center. But you guys have never been to Redmond, so you wouldn't know what Redmond Town Center is. And the person reading my state test, unless they happen to live in Redmond, which is unlikely, they might be in somewhere hundreds of miles away within Washington State, they wouldn't know what Redmond Town Center is either. So I would want to explain, instead of just saying my friends and I went to Redmond Town Center, I would say my friends and I went to Redmond Town Center, a shopping mall inside Redmond. I might even do it by saying something like my friends and I went shopping at Redmond Town Center to imply that it was a mall. So yeah, there's lots of different ways that you can explain things. You don't necessarily have to tell it, you could show it, but it's very important that it does explain. What are some other things? What are some other tips?
I would suggest is that they keep in mind about what the topic is, but at the same time it can sound like both professional and at least a big way to, but at the same time sound like something they would have written and not copied off the internet, or like someone else would be, like a copycat writer. still make it sound original, like that person would have written it, but at the same time, either the grade level or higher to still keep the reader interested.
Yeah, and I think you guys should take note of that, because when it comes down to it, a lot of what we write, it should reflect who we are. And so when you're writing something, say on a state test, the goal of it is not necessarily, it's not just to spell everything right, to make sure that it fulfills the requirements. It's also about adding something extra. It's also about making your voice come through, your perspective, and so really showing who you are through the way that you write. Because if you saw the two responses that each got a 6, you saw they were written in different ways. They didn't sound exactly the same. Each person made their voice come through in different ways, whether through their writing or through their subject matter, who they chose. So there's definitely lots of ways to make sure that it's you coming through your writing. So are there any questions I can answer?
We did watch a few of your videos before today, and I think some of the students have some questions that may not pertain to essay writing, but...
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 9th grade, but I skipped 2 grades, and I'm also doing some upper high school level work. So technically 9th grade, but doing some advanced work.
What exactly does TED stand for?
What exactly does, sorry?
TED?
Oh, TED. It originally stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design, but now they don't really use it so much as a abbreviation. They say it stands for Ideas Worth Spreading. I mean, obviously letters don't stand for that, but it's TED, Ideas Worth Spreading now. So when they first created it, it was Technology, Entertainment, and Design. But since it's expanded to lots of topics beyond that, they don't use that much anymore.
How old are you?
I'm 13 years old. My birthday is October 15th, and I was born in 1997. So yeah, I turned 13 just last year.
Actually, my question has 2 parts to it. Part 1, obviously you're very much into writing and pretty much just who you are. I was wondering, in school systems, do you think that we should take some time, at least once or twice a week, to be able to have some time to be able to write during classes and to express ourselves, as well as to show the teachers that we are writing to help us prepare also for tests and writing for the future?
Oh yeah, I definitely think it's a great idea to do writing in class, and also, a lot of times we do quite a bit of writing for persuasive essay writing, but it's nice to be able to also explore other areas of writing like poetry, expository, creative writing. So definitely having the opportunity to write often and write different kinds of writing as well, I think that's something great. And I know that a lot of teachers have been struggling somewhat with because writing exercises take up quite a bit of class time, struggling with how to fit that in. And I think that definitely doing it often is something that's important. But even if you're not able to say do writing in class once a week, then it's also, you can give yourself, say, 30 minutes or an hour. What I do quite a bit is giving myself, say, an hour and a half in the morning to write out a short story. So giving yourself time like that as well is another way to get to do quite a bit of writing. And I really encourage everyone to do that.
And my second part is, do you think in school systems, obviously a lot of websites are blocked because of either non-educational use or inappropriate content? But do you think that since obviously some out to the day we have some free time where we can spend it in the classroom doing what we wish, do you think that there should be some writing websites that are obviously free to the public, or should be unblocked to where we can write and post our writings and share and express ourselves through that way as well?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I think that there are lots of educational websites out there that are great for students and great for schools. And so this is really an issue that's been talked about a lot, is how many websites to block, which websites to block. And so I definitely understand why schools use filtering systems. And I think that for instance, if you know about a website that's really good, I would definitely encourage you to share it with your teacher and see if they can share it with probably administration would be in charge of filtering and stuff. So definitely finding websites that you think are right for fellow students.
Are you in a public school or private?
I go to a public online school, so actually my schooling is a little weird. It's so I take my core classes like history, math, writing, etc. Online, and then I also take 2 electives, drama and cooking, at my local school. So yeah, I'm mostly online.
Chase?
Have you ever met like any famous authors?
I have met a couple famous authors. I got to meet Lois Lowry. Have any of you read work by her? She wrote Number of the Stars and The Giver. So she's a fairly famous writer, and I got to meet her at the Wisconsin State Reading Association conference. I also got to meet Shannon Hale. She wrote Goose Girl and Princess Academy, a few other books, and I have unfortunately not met J.K. Rowling yet, but that would be lovely. So yeah, I've met a couple of famous authors, and at some of the conferences I've gone to, like TED, there have been quite a few very well-known people in attendance, so that's cool.
Jerry?
What inspired you to start writing?
A lot of it was because my parents read to me when I was very little, and so I would hear these stories of all these awesome things, and I always had a very active imagination. I loved to set things up with dolls and styrofoam and have like these castles made out of cardboard and stuff, and so I channeled that imagination into my writing, and I would really love to write all these fanciful stories. My very early stories would be things like boy goes to restaurant, eats cheeseburger, leaves restaurant at the end, so not that exciting, but it got better. And so I think that a lot of my inspiration to start writing was to really share my work with the world, as well as be able to release some of that imagination.
Is it hard to like be famous with everybody like I don't know, asking for something?
Your classmates, you mean?
Yeah, with like your classmates and stuff.
Actually, the funny thing is that I'm not like a movie star as far as if I walk down the street, people aren't going to suddenly recognize me and start taking pictures. This has happened in Vietnam. When I was in Vietnam one time, and I flew in, and there were all these photographers taking pictures of me, and it was crazy because it felt like I was a movie star, and that was pretty incredible. But where I live, a lot of people know some people know what I've done, and a lot of my classmates know I've published the book and stuff, but it's not a thing of where they're all like, oh, let's take a picture with you and get your autograph and stuff. Like if I'm walking around, then yeah, that doesn't really happen. Lucky for me.
Do you like to draw whenever you like to write? Do you like to draw what you write about?
Yes, I have done that quite a few times before, but unfortunately I don't draw that well. So when I draw sometimes from my writing, when I look at my drawing and I look at my writing, and I was like, well, I imagine this beautiful image in my head and I can't get it out on paper. So sometimes I get frustrated with myself, but I do enjoy drawing from my writing. I think it's a great idea.
And two, have you ever like met any like country music artists?
Unfortunately, I have not met any country music artists yet. No, I don't think I have actually. I haven't met that many singers at all. But that's a good question. I'll keep that in mind if I ever meet some.
Do you have a favorite book you like to read?
Yes, I have many favorite books. I love the Chronicles of Narnia, the Harry Potter series, the Lord of the Rings. I like a lot of work by Lois Lowry, The Giver. A lot of work by Brian Jacques. Like I was a huge fan of Redwall. Those books, I remember those were some of my favorite books when I was like 7 and 8. And then as well as some of the new fiction I've been reading, actually some of the classics, like A Tale of Two Cities, have been really good. So those are a couple of my favorites.
Shelley?
How did you get your books to be published?
How did I get my books to be published? Well, I have a lot of short stories, so I selected 9 of the best ones and I put them into a manuscript. I printed it out, and it was like a stack of paper about this thing, and I would put it into an envelope and mail it to different publishers' addresses. And I got a lot of rejections because I would mail it to, Scholastic, Random House, all these very large publishers, and a lot of them weren't really crazy about publishing work by a 7-year-old. So I continued mailing it because being 7, I hadn't heard a whole lot of, oh, you'll get rejected a lot, it'll be really difficult. So I just thought, I want to get published, I'll just send off my manuscript. And so actually my mom called this publisher called Acing Publishing, and she was lucky enough to get the publisher on the phone. And so that was very unusual. Being able to work very closely with them allowed me to publish my book by years. And oh yeah, one more question.
Go ahead, Al.
Do you have any other favorite hobbies besides reading?
Yes, I love to, writing for one thing, but I also love to draw, cook. I have a very fun time with playing outside, although since I live near Seattle where it's famous for being very rainy, and it's raining right now, then that I don't get to play outside like pretty much any season except summer or when it's not raining. I also like to roller skate, ice skate, and bowl, so do those kinds of things, and go hiking because around here we have a lovely like natural scenery, forests and stuff. So those are a few of the things I like to do. Does the teacher have any questions?
I don't think so. We've enjoyed it. It's been great. All of the rubrics we got to go by for our state standards, so appreciate that. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.